I think you might have been hearing an echo because the mic was on. Anyways, what's happening, everyone? I wanted to mess around a little bit in the studio, so I figured we'd do it live. We'll mess around a little in the studio live. I got a bunch of stuff to work on in here. So thanks everybody for joining late night as I mess around a little more in the studio. I don't know how this sweatshirt is like navy blue, but I think it looks like black. I don't know, maybe it looks blue, I can't tell. Hey, Peak Time Racing is here. Peak Time Racing's been the one really helping me out with all this. I really appreciate Peak Time Racing. Peak Time Racing, I think I'm going to mess around with the white balance, maybe, I don't know, but also I'm going to try to put a light onto the front wall because it's so dark in here. Peak Time Racing, I'm wearing this like dark blue fleece. It kind of looks black on camera. Does that mean I need to light things up? Or is it just unavoidable? We'll see what Peak Time Racing has to say. I'm going to look at how it looks right here on my own broadcast here. I'm going to look at how it looks. Sorry. It's just kind of dark. Yeah, like I can see it myself when I look down. It's not as dark on my person. Yes, Peak Time Racing says big improvement from yesterday. Maybe a bit too dark yet. Bump the ISO up one and see if that looks better. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to bump the ISO up. So hang on, guys. I know what, hey, Peak Time Racing, I actually know what that means now. All right, so let me do this. ISO. The ISO is at 200. Oh, okay. I just bumped the ISO up one step. I just bumped the ISO up from 200 to like 350. So that certainly is a little better, but I mean, is that too bright? Oh, that looks like too bright. I watched a long video last night to re-educate myself on all the settings, on the ISO and the shutter speed and the the F setting. How big the camera opening is. Yeah, that looks too bright now. It's weird. It's like now this shirt looks better, but my face looks too bright. Right? Peak Time Racing? The background looks better the other way too. Put the ISO back and put the f-stop up one. So, well, the f-stop I think is at the maximum. I think the f-stop is at 1.4. I don't think it can let any more light in, Peak Time Racing. But I'm going to go back with the ISO for now. Oh, hold on. There was an intermediate step. I actually went 2 steps up on the ISO. So what I just did right now is I went back. I had accidentally gone from like 200 ISO to 320. Now I'm at like 250 or something. This is like ISO 250. I don't know if that's better or not. That's less bright, but it's not as bright. Yes, now you can at least see some of the blue. I mean, you're not seeing that much of it, but you're seeing some of it. But it does, I mean, when you bump that ISO up, it does wash out a bit of the background, right? So, is there something I could have done? I mean, I can't open up the... I can't change the F setting, so what else is there? Shutter speed? I'm not going to mess with the shutter speed either, so I don't really have a choice. The only thing you can change is the picture profile. Oh, well, peak time racing. Another thing I could do is I could go into my program and I could change the settings in my program. There's that too. You're saying you could change the picture profile. You may need to go adjust the contrast in there. What do you think, peak time racing? Should I bump the ISO back down to 200 or keep it at 250, or what do you think I should do? Hey everybody, thanks for joining the stream as we mess around here in the studio. Sounds echoey. It's going to be echoey in here until it's an empty room. We'll fix the echoey. We're going to get to the echoey. Don't worry about that. Can you lower the contrast in your software? I probably can, actually. Lower the contrast. Yeah, I mean, that's real low. But here's contrast 0. Here's contrast minus 10. Yeah, there's that. So I can adjust it in my camera settings. Here's minus 20. Minus 20 seems like it's too bright. I don't know. But that's more like what my shirt looks like. Just slight adjustments. Minus 10. Should I bump the ISO back down? Minus 10. That's minus 10. And what about the ISO? Because the ISO now is at 250 instead of 200. Drop the ISO again. All right, hold on. To 200. So I just dropped the ISO to 200. And now you can see my shirt is obviously a little darker because I dropped the ISO. The LED, no, Sarah, we're going to get to the LED lights. We just haven't gotten to it. We haven't gotten to it. Up your brightness in your software by 1. I think you mean by, I know what you're saying, by like a small step. I mean, that's just a small bump in my brightness from the software to like from 0 to 5. Yeah, this isn't bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's in the general, I think this is in the general area of where we want to be. How does the chair look color-wise? I mean, that looks fine. When I look on the screen, that's not, that on the screen, color-wise of the chair is pretty close to what it is in person. That's really not a big difference. So, okay. Thank you, Peak Time Racing. So Peak Time Racing, another thing I was going to do is I was going to experiment with, because it's so dark in here, my one big issue is it's so dark in this room, and if I sit in here for hours, I'm going to go crazy because it's so dark. So I was thinking of throwing a light onto some kind of light onto the opposite wall, as I mentioned to you. So I actually, I have this light. I have lights like this that I used to use. And I was thinking I could maybe throw an LED, like this is an LED light, and throw it on the opposite wall just to have some light there and see if it interferes and hope it doesn't. What do you think about that idea? Because it's just too dark in here for me to sit. It feels like I'm sitting in a dark room, and if I sit here for hours, I'm going to go crazy. I'm limited in what I can do. Yeah, you says Peak Time Racing says you could try, but it'll mix light colors and might require more adjustments. I just have to do something because it's just too dark for me to sit here for hours. It's really dark. It just feels like I'm sitting in the dark. So maybe there's something small I can do. I also thought of putting, like some strip lights on the opposite wall, but just to have something there. I'm going to try this for a second. Point it up to the ceiling as much as possible and bounce the light off the wall. Yeah, I'm going to have this facing the wall. Let me see if I can do this. No. How do I turn down the brightness? So that's actually a little better. I actually have a light at the base of the opposite wall, and at least it's something. It's not even that bright. But I don't even know if that affects. I'll see if I can turn it off and on. There's off. How do I turn it on now? There's on. Oh yeah, see, you can see it. There's off. Hold on. It's kind of hard to do this. That's off, and watch. Now I'm going to turn it on. Watch behind me. See, you kind of see behind me when I go off and on, but it makes a big difference in the room. At least it's like a little light. Yeah, Peak Time Racing says it doesn't change the look much. It kind of just changes the color a bit. I mean, it's obviously, I think it's better without it, but it's just I can't sit in the room. I just got to get used to it. Maybe there's another thing I can do. This isn't for the benefit of lighting me. It's for the benefit of having some light in the room. Yeah. You can also adjust it too. I can put it right next to the wall. That's right next to the wall. So does every streamer like sit in the dark? I guess a lot of them do. Peak Time Racing says yes. Yeah, most of them do. I'm just not used to it. The thing is, I'm not gaming. You know, it's one thing if you're gaming maybe, but I'm not gaming. I'm just kind of talking to people. I'm looking at my computer. I'm like opening packages. Right. Peak Time Racing says most of them sit in the dark because obviously the colored lights work best in the dark. Yeah. Fweaky Beat says, I like sitting in the dark. Emily D. Baker, but doesn't she sit like in a bright room? You know, like Kai Sinat, he's in a bright room. He doesn't have colored lights behind him, though. Like Pokimane, I don't think she's in the dark, but she's just in like a light room. I like having the colored lights. It's just the dark is a little too much for me. Another thing is that I can't even have, hey, thanks, Tom Witcher. Tom says something to help get more lights. I don't know that we'll need more. We'll see. Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much, Tom. I can't even have like a light on. I have the light turned outside on the room outside off. It's funny though, like when you look at the broadcast, it doesn't look dark in the room at all. It looks like the room's all bright. Try the IKEA stand light I sent you a picture of. It points directly up and lights the room, but doesn't blend into your colored lights much. What? Could you send that to me again, Peak Time Racing? Hey, thanks, Cruella. I appreciate that. Thank you. Could you send me that again? I have like studio lights that I can point straight up in the air too. Oh, your IKEA one is like a desk light or something like that? Yeah, I just got to find a balance between having the colored lights and not having it, and not sitting in the dark for hours at a time. Because it's just too dark. Peak Time Racing says it's about 6 feet tall, the lamp. Hold on here. Looking at my phone right now. Right. I used to have one like this. I think I had this exact lamp before. You're saying Peak Time Racing, it'll just kind of light up the ceiling? It's like a floor lamp. Maybe the problem is I'm looking for competing things. I want the colored lights, but I also want it to not be dark in here. Peak Time Racing says IKEA name Tagarp. I mean, I also thought of like I could put some lights up on the wall, some strip lights, some LED strip lights. Yeah, this is this one that Peak Time Racing is talking about here. Just getting something like this and putting it on the opposite wall, pointing it up at the ceiling. Hang on. Yeah, it's not that expensive. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to do both of those things. Fire Rat says, I got the same shelving here in Portugal as you do. Yes, I do have a Stream Deck. No, there's not a ceiling light because that'll be too much light and it'll wash out the color from the colored lights. I just know that if I sit in the dark for hours and hours, I'm going to get like depressed. I don't know how people do it. But I was thinking maybe I'd run some of the strip lights on the wall or something. Or around top of the wall or something. You know, like a roll of these. And I could run these on, on the wall or on top of the wall or something. Hey, Key says is here. Key says loves sitting in the dark. One Way Street wants a soft box pointed up. I have studio lights here that I could point up. I think they're going to be too bright, though. I wish this remote actually worked well. It's just like hard because I for 3 years I've always done this channel one way. For 3 years I've always done this channel in a fully lit room. And I've never done it where I'm just like sitting in the dark almost. I probably just have to try a couple things. No, we're going to light the shelves later. We're not working on the shelves now. We'll get to it. We'll get to that. That's not what we're working on right now. We will, though. Don't worry. We'll light the shelves. We'll take care of the echo. That's not the priority right now. Yeah, T-Sky says, do what makes you comfortable. P-Time Racing says, more lights pointing at the wall as long as the background stays dark. The color of the lights will be fine. Try plugging this other one in. See what happens if I do this. First of all, there's this. Do this crazy thing. That's interesting. Yeah, the problem is, it's just like, it literally is, anything that lights up the room more is gonna, I just put a different light on too. Now the room is lit up a little bit more, but it affects the color behind me. The problem is I have two fundamentally competing desires. One is to have the channel look like most channels look like. The other one is to not be sitting in the dark. Right. This by pointing another light at the wall, which I just did, it makes it a bit brighter in here, but now you're washing out what's behind you. Hey, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Tom says he's colorblind and half blind. So it means none of this means much to him. So Tom won't care much either way. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's, I have these two different desires. I really like how the stream looked last night and how it looks like when I don't have much light on in here. I really like it when the colors are bright behind me, but just sitting in the dark for 3 hours, I don't think I can do it. The other channel, people sit in the dark, basically. Yeah, Peak Time Racing says you have to pick what's more important for you. It will be hard to get that nice background color with a room that is too bright. At least I know this now. At least I know what the choices are. See, now what I just did, now I turned off the lights that we're pointing at the other wall. And this looks much better. This looks much better, but now I'm sitting in the dark. And I feel like I'm sitting in the dark. So this is the problem. This is the problem I face, and I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I got to figure it out. Because again, this looks much better, but I hate sitting here in the dark. I think it's going to drive me crazy. My last room had the color looking good. It didn't, but the last room, the color was totally washed out. The last room didn't really, it doesn't look nearly as good as this. If you look at it, it's like a washed out pink light on the back. It just doesn't look professional. That's to me. That's the idea of switching to this room. You know, this is the previous room. It's very washed out. It's bright because I'm not using any, I'm literally using the normal lights in the room. I just think this looks a lot better than that does. But, you know. I just like it to look like a real channel. That's what I want it to look like. But at the same time, I don't want to sit in the dark. Painting the wall behind me black. Well, I can't paint anymore because it would the landlord. It's not, I don't own the place, and it just got painted, so I'm not painting anything. Why would having it black behind me help things? Because I could like put up a black fabric or something. Well, why would that help? If you made the wall black, why would that help? How would the color look on a black wall? It would create a darker background for the colored lights. Right now they are bouncing off white, which washes them out if you make it brighter. Not sure what to do. Not sure what to do. At least I know my options, though. P Time Racing says black won't reflect light like white does. You mean reflect the light that's in the front of the room? The other room wasn't a studio. The other room was where like my office was. So the idea was, well, let's go into a room where we can control the environment and actually make it look like we want to make it look, rather than streaming from my desk with the room lighting. The wall in front of you was black, it would be hard to bounce off of. The wall in front of me. But then wouldn't it be harder to have it be bright in front of me if the wall in front of me was black? Or no? A lot of people do sit in dark rooms. Right. Yeah, P. Time Racing says, don't change the wall in front of you. A lot of people I know do sit in dark rooms. And I never, I remember I was watching, last week, some sort of video about a monitor light. And it was talking about how it was good for people who sit in dark rooms. And I was like, who sits in dark rooms? I'm the kind of person, I really like having bright lighting wherever I am. Yeah, Derek, I thought about putting LED strips, on the wall opposite or on the ceiling, and maybe I should try it. I don't know how that would do. Maybe it would light things up enough. Susan says, dark room depressing. For me, it is. The alternative to being in a dark room with colored lighting is being in a bright room, but then you have to have some sort of set behind you because the colored lighting is not really going to work. Peak Time Racing says, on video, darker backgrounds with a single light color for your source works better on camera. A single light color for your source. What do you mean by that? If you mix too many lights, it's hard to get true skin tone colors. I don't love bright lights for my eyes. One advantage to just using room lighting is it's easy on your eyes. Tom, that's really nice of you. Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate it. I think reseasoning your pots is a legitimate worry. Yeah, it's Peak Time Racing. I see what you're saying about mixing the light colors. No, I know, Catsy baby. It doesn't look like on camera. It doesn't look like the room is dark, but it is. That's the thing. It doesn't look like it is. I was watching the replay this morning. Doesn't look like it is, but it is. That's the frustrating thing because I really like the way it looks, but it's too dark for me to just sit in here. It's not too dark on camera, it's too dark in real life. Unless I'm just not used to it, but I really don't have a good reaction to it. I never have. That's why I never used a ring light for things. Yeah, I mean, the room is pretty much dark except for the two lights in front of me and the light behind me. The rest of the room is dark. But once you light up the room, you can't, it throws everything else off. The colors won't look good at all. You probably will see the colors. By the way, thanks to our mod, Sarah's modding. I appreciate it, Sarah. I think BZ is there. Thank you. I also don't think it's great for my eyes. It strains my eyes to be in a really dark room and have these like a couple bright lights in front of me. It's not great. I mean, the alternative would be not worry so much about colored lighting. It would be to focus more on what's going on behind me. Hey, thank you, Susan. That's very kind of you, Susan. Thank you. Very nice of Susan. Thanks. I'm thinking of, hold on a second here. Let me show you something as an example. See, look, here's Peak Time Racing. I don't know if you're still there. Here's this guy, Nutty. I actually really like Nutty's channel. He does a lot of stuff about how-to live streaming stuff. But if you look at his, see his place there. So when he streams, you know, that's like a setup he has, and he's got like his shelves lit up, and he's got a light on the wall behind him. But he's not in the dark because see there's like a different angle. So he clearly has some light going, although maybe it's not that lit up in there, but there's like some light in the room. That's not the usual angle, but the more usual angle he streams at is something, I don't know, he's like this. But at least it's not like completely dark in there. But he still gets some color even though it's not completely clear. Like that's like his normal streaming angle. So my point is, like that's an example of someone who gets some rich color behind him, but he's not sitting in the dark. At least it doesn't look like it. Now, he's lit up his shelves, I know. By the way, it's a good channel. If you're into like streaming stuff, he does a lot of good how-to streaming stuff. His name is Nutty, N-U-T-T-Y. But it's just that, again, it's that getting some color in the background, which I like, without being sitting in the dark. Now he's got a bunch of lights. I know he's got a bunch of lights though. Panami says his colors behind him aren't as intense as yours. You know, so it's just, is there a way to balance the, right. My color in the back is certainly darker. Hey, thanks to Eddie. Eddie says, I'm putting together my shelves for my new backdrop studio. I'm very excited you're getting a new studio, Eddie. I guess maybe what I need to do is, maybe I need to like bump up the lighting in the room. And then once I have the lighting in the room bumped up, then start working on the colored stuff and seeing if I can get some color back there. Jesse says you could add some more light but still have some color. Thanks to our new member, Peaceful Plants. Oh, and thanks, Ryan. I missed Leonette's donation. Thank you, Leonette. I appreciate that. Leonette, thank you. Very nice of you. Yeah, I think I need to figure out what level, how to light up the room so that it's enough light for me. And then I can go back and work with all the color stuff. And maybe I can get enough color in there. Now, Emily D. Baker, who I've seen, who some of you guys watch, see, she has stuff lit up, but she's not in the dark. Maybe she is in the dark. I don't know. I mean, she's got shelves lit up, right? And she's got lights going on behind her. But I don't know. Maybe she just has a dark room in front of her. Jessie says she looks like she has more light. I mean, everything behind her is lit up. But there is light on that furniture. There is like some light going onto the furniture. Maybe she has big studio lights. I don't know. But she's still able to get some color back there. Bent Out says, it seems they have white light sources scattered throughout the shell's background. Well, they definitely have colored lighting back there. Peak Time Racing says she has big lights in front of her lighting her up. The room itself is dark. So you're saying, Peak Time Racing, that like when she looks forward, that the lighting in that room is coming from those studio lights, you're saying. So how is she able to get the color in the back? Does she just have like that those pink, the color in the back is just what? She's got maybe some LED lights or floodlights like right against the wall there behind the bookcases. Peak Time Racing says the color in the back is probably most likely strip lights. Peak Time Racing, what do you think about Nutty? How about Nutty? How is he doing it? Hang on. Actually, you can't really. There you can see the front. See, he's got a big light here. He's normally facing front, Nutty. He's got a big light here. He's probably got one over here too. Hang on. Yeah, there's the other one. So that's his normal streaming setup. See, he's got a light here and a light here. But there's still light in front of him though. And then when you see him, right, there he is right there at his computer. So he's got some color behind him. Peak Time Racing says there's also little lights within the boxes she has on. Lots of different lights behind her. They work well because there's no direct light blending into them from above. Hey, thanks thanks to our new member, Peaceful Plants. Thanks to Ron Dykman, our new member. Oops, sorry. Again, this channel is called Nutty, N-U-T-T-Y. It's a good channel about basically about live streaming. So check it out. Derek says the color light is in the box, or in your case, on or under behind the shelves. Peak Time Racing says Nutty's in a dark room with the lights from the color and light in front of him. See, you're saying, Peak Time Racing, that's what's lighting up this room is the light, the colored lights behind him, and those studio lights he's got on it, like here. Hold on, let me show you. See, that's a different angle of it. That's a different angle. See, because he's got like some strip lights here. He's definitely got lights back here somewhere. Maybe it's just that what's lighting up this wall here, and like what's lighting up his ceiling? Just the studio lights? See how the room itself is dark but lit up with the studio lighting. Right. So what you're saying is that like he's got a couple of these studio lights, and you're saying that those are lighting up the room. Right. No, he doesn't have like anything else lighting up the room. Yeah, so there is maybe like the light is just bouncing off the wall and going back here. His wall and ceiling appears brighter to you, but it's not. It's done by the ISO and the f-stop on his camera. That's actually interesting. That's interesting. P-Time Racing says, like, even how we look at you right now, you don't appear to be in a darker room. Right, no, exactly. Like, this right here, when you guys look at me on camera right now, it doesn't seem like I'm sitting in the dark. But to me, I'm like, I'm in the dark. I mean, there's a couple lights pointing at me, but I look around the room and it's dark in here. So that's the whole thing is is I'm just not used to or a fan of sitting in a room as dark as a lot of streamers do. P-Time Racing says streamers you see with lights in the back are actually in a much darker room. You know, like also another person is, he has that Ryan Hall, who has a very popular weather channel. His room is dark because I watched a video where he showed his setup. It's not like you look at him on normally and say, oh, he's in a dark room. But he does keep his room dark. I mean, he's got these studio lights overhead, but basically the room is dark. Yeah, P-Time Racing says his room is black, but massive lights in front of him. I think he has his studio lights mounted like on the ceiling, pointing down at him. But he's not lighting it. He doesn't have to light a green screen or anything. But Andy says, I think most streamers are facing a wall as well, so it would not be as dark for them. You know, one thing is I am a little away from a wall, so I don't know if it would do me any good to be closer to a wall. But then I'd be farther away from the shelves. Oh, thank you, Tom. Tom says, have a great night figuring out the lighting issues. I don't think we're going to figure it out tonight, Tom. I've solved mine, so I can call it a night. Thank you, Tom. That's really nice of you. Thanks for being a member, Tom. Really appreciate it, Tom. Thank you. Eddie says, when I've streamed inside Studio C area, I was in the dark, but I had lights pointed in different directions and a small point or a spotlight reflecting onto my face. Jody Aloha is here. Tweaky Beats says, can keep the room bright, adjust the cam lens to a small aperture like f8 or higher, f10, f16, play with exposure, but when you introduce more lights, you might need to consider placements, angles, flagging, blocking where lights go. The previous room was bright, but you know, when I got a lens, thanks to Peak Time Racing, that still made it work, but I was limited to what I could do behind me. Peak Time Racing says, using overhead lights pointing down, he says it mixes all the color and wrecks your scene. I'll have to figure it out. I'll have to figure it out. So again, the problem isn't what it looks like now. I like where it's going now. The problem is I can't sit here in the dark because I'm basically in the dark, even though it doesn't look like that. See, now, Kai Cenat basically has no colored light. He's basically in a big room, Kai Cenat. Like, he's in a bright room, but he's not like he has colored lights going on behind him. It looks like this, right? That's kind of analogous to our previous setup, where he's just in a room. And I'm sure he's got a bunch of lights there, but, it's not like he's got a lot of colored lights behind him. It's a room with depth and a rug and some lights on the wall and stuff. Thanks, a horse with no name. Twiggy Beat says he's got a big rope light or something that goes around the ceiling. It's also possible, and maybe I just have to try it. It's possible that if I put up some LED lights on the ceiling or something, that they wouldn't be too bright, but they'd make me feel better. So I might just have to try to do that and see how that works. Because sometimes I could be in a room where somebody has strip lights on the wall or on the ceiling, and it definitely brightens up the room without having it be too bright. Van Dan says, did you know your Amazon items take you off if I choose a different size or color? So do you mean agenda-free TV Amazon items? And what do you mean by take you off, Van Dan? I'm interested in knowing. Another thing to notice, consider when looking at Emily D. Baker's scenes as Peak Time Racing, she has much more separation of her in the background. So she can light up the brightness of her lights without washing out the color behind her. You're saying because she's further away from her background, you're saying. She's also zoomed in more than I am. That's like just her face, right? Because you see much more of me than you do of her. I'm not very zoomed in. If I was zoomed in more, then I could be further away from the background. The thing is, the nice thing about being in a darker room and not having like overhead light is I certainly think I look better and I'm not as washed out. Because like previously, when you have a lot of light in the room, it ends up washing me out. And everything looks sharper. It looks way sharper. Then when we're upstairs, when we're doing this upstairs, it's just really not much of a comparison. So I don't like it. I don't like that. I don't like the way it looked before. I'm tired of it looking like that. I want something different. I like it being sharper. Peak Time Racing says it's why TV shows / movie are filmed in a dark room with just studio lights pointing at the subject. The thing is, if you're on like a TV set, there's enough studio lights that it's still bright. I don't even have these lights. These lights here are not that bright. The ones I'm using right here. I can make them a little brighter. I just made them brighter. It actually brightens up, when I make those lights brighter, it does brighten up, kind of brightens up the mood in here. But it is brighter though. But, there is something where that actually is this. Why is this like this? There's something to be said for just making the studio lights brighter, because it does brighten things up. Probably interferes with the lights behind me though. But I didn't even bump them up that much. I think I just bumped them up to like 13 or 14% from 10% or something. And I could probably turn down the brightness on my program. I also have the contrast still at -10. That's 0 right there, contrast. That's with no adjustments from the program. But now it's just brighter. Because I think some of these other people just have these really bright studio lights. It's not, when I'm in the Agenda Free TV studio, it's not as annoying, but I have this big overhead light. But I really just bumped up those lights not that much. I don't even know what they're on right now. How can I tell what they're on? Control center. Where's control center? Set brightness. Adjust brightness. That's 20. I don't even know if I have these at the same color temperature. Do I even have them at the same color temperature? I'm not sure. I should see. Set temperature. Yeah, they're at the same temperature. I also can move my desk. I mean, my desk doesn't have to be right where it is right now. It could definitely be closer to the front wall, but if I do that, then I'm going to probably have to zoom in a little more on me because there's going to be too much of the background showing. Like I would need to know why I'm moving my desk to be moving my desk around. No, this is for this channel, not for the other channel. Van Dan says, I tried to order items you like and you receive a commission for, but I need a bigger blanket or something, and it looks like you won't get a commission for it. So, Van Dan, I think that's because of its items I like. I think if there's a specific item you want me to recommend, let me know. Let me know, Van Dan, and then I can get a link for it. Thank you for asking, Van Dan. Just message me and I can get a link for it. People liked when I bumped up the light a little bit in the studio. I didn't bump it up that much. Oh, thank you, Peak Time Racing. By the way, I got to give Peak Time Racing a shout out as I did last night because Peak Time Racing is so helpful. It's crazy. Really helpful. Peak Time Racing is also helpful even when we're not on the air. Sent me a bunch of messages last night. Thanks for the gift memberships. As I mentioned last night, Peak Time Racing has his own channel, which you should check out. It's a very popular channel about collectible toy cars. There he is. There's Phil right there. There he is. So he's very helpful. Here, I'll post the channel. So I can't thank him enough. Oh, Tom said, I know I said I'd left, but I am really going now. Get your lights. This should help more with the new studio. Thank you, Tom. Well, I got to figure out what I want to do. That's very nice of you, Tom. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks so much, Tom. I asked Peak Time Racing, I said, is there anything I can do in return? He said, no, I just like helping. I noticed, though, that, when you bump up the studio lights, it's still dark in the room, but it seems at least less depressing. So I wonder with some of these people who have probably these big studio lights, is it just like, oh, well, it's not that dark because they have bright studio lights? Because like I said, I mean, you can be on a TV set and it's not dark because they have bright studio lights. Peak Time Racing says you are correct. So Peak Time Racing, do you think there's anything to me like moving my desk away? The problem is, as I bump up the studio lights more, that's going to interfere with the color behind me, I would think. So, is there anything to moving my desk closer to the wall in front of me so that I can have brighter studio lights but not interfere with the back? But if I'm doing that, then I'm probably going to have to zoom in more on me because you're just going to see way too much at the back because I'm not that zoomed in. Max says you get more reflection off the shells when you turn up the light. Because when I do agenda-free TV, it's a little annoying to be in the studio, but it's not that bad because it is pretty bright in there. But the only lights I have there are the studio lights. They're just bright, and they're big. If you can move your desk towards your wall more, it would be better, but I don't think you will notice that much of a difference. Do you have your studio lights, Peak Time Racing, these lights, the Elgato ones, all the way high that you can make it? Right. And as Peak Time Racing mentions, I'm lighting up a green screen, so I have no choice in the other room because I got to light up the green screen. Just for the fun of it, I'm maxing the height on the desk lights. I'm going to put them up as high as I can. Those go up pretty high, don't they? Those actually go up pretty high, those desk lights. So I put them up as high as I could, so they're not in my face. Yeah, I just put them up as high as I could so they're not in my face. And now I can probably make them a little brighter. So what I did is, peak time racing, is I just put those lights up as high as I could make them. And I turned them up a little more. Now, I think it's to the point where it's interfering with what's behind me, though. But what I'll say is the room is a little brighter now. The room is definitely a bit brighter now. And my desk is brighter now. Because those lights are brighter. But they're not right in my face, which is nice. Drop your ISO down one, you're a bit washed out. Okay, hold on. If I can. Oopsie, I just bumped this. I just jumped it from 200 to 150. It's less depressing sitting here with the brighter studio lights. This should be pointed more at me, actually. I mean, this isn't as bad because the room is brighter now. Peak Time Racing says you can tell now the lights aren't pointing at you as much. What do you mean by that? By the way, I don't even have, remember, I have a ton of these. I have not lit up the bookcases, I have not lit up the shelves at all. The shelves are going to be lit. We have not lit up the shelves at all. I have rolls of these. She says they're pointing more towards the room behind you. So should I point them at me more? Peak Time Racing? Like point them down or something? I feel like they're pointed at me, but maybe they're not as much. Move color lights closer to shelf. You know, I could do that, Derek, but then they're going to be in the frame. I mean, I can move this closer here. Oops. But now that light's in the frame. That's the downside of that. Well, that one's already pretty close. I don't even know if it is better. I was trying to keep the lights out of the frame. I don't think that looks very good to have it in the frame. But remember, we have all these lights. You know, we have all of these. So maybe when I get these, they are pointing more towards the room behind you. It's weird because when I look at them, they look like they're pointing towards me, but maybe it's just because they're so much higher now that the light is diffusing and it's pointing at me, but more of it's getting to the room behind me. I can't bump up the color. The colored lights are bumped up as much as I can make them. Those do not bump up any more than they are. Derek, these two lights I have in front of me are already diffused lights. They come diffused. They're the Elgato key light airs, and they're like a built-in diffuser. They're not spotlights, undiffused or whatever. Peak time racing, I like this better than I had at the beginning of the stream, just because the room is a bit brighter and because my desk is brighter. Like, it's better than it was just because the room is brighter and my desk is brighter. So I do prefer that. Hey, Idaho Star is here. Good to see you, Idaho Star. Helping to moderate. Freaky Beat says you'll find it the right mix. Leonette says maybe I should put the strip lights up. Well, I do think it'll be interesting to see what it looks like when these are up. Because we don't have these up. Maybe these will really help the lighting a lot back there. T-Sky says your colors are deeper than the other YouTubers. Dr. McRib is here. Michael Fucaro is here. Thanks, Michael, for becoming a member. Catherine of Sweden says the strip lights will help immensely. Yeah, Peak Time Racing says the strip lights will help for sure. I mean, I can just try right now to just put up like one row of strip lights and just see how it looks, right? It's not hard for me to string up a couple strip lights. Where I already had it plugged in last night. Just plug it in again. Where's the plug for the strip lights? I had it here. Where is it? I know it's here. No, right here. Right here. So here's the plug, and here's this. That goes in here. So see, I have this. So I can just like literally, if I want right now, I can just do a test where I, where I put a line of these up and see how it looks with it up. It's not hard to do, to just test it. I think I had them up with tape before. Is that what I did? Did I tape it up before? I think I did. It's not going to hold up right now, but you're not going to be able to see this. But what is it? See, the other thing, look at that. Look at that right there. See that? If I do, I can light them from the back. That's the other thing I can do. Let me just show you this. This is very crude what I'm doing right here. Oh. Stay there. So see that already looks nice. See that shelf up there? That shelf, all I have is the row of lights pointing at the back. And then I can change the color. Where's the remote? Is it here? You know what remote I'm using. It's not this one, I guess. All right, so look at that. I mean, already, see, look at that. That shelf now looks really lit up. And that's just because I have literally one row of the lights going behind it. It's a big difference. See, that's off and that's on. Look at that. Look at that. So I think I should put these up. Peak Time Racing, are you watching? Sarah says, that's why I asked if you are going to light those up, because once you do, it's going to change your front light. Well, I think it'll yeah, so I think it'll just, I won't have to worry as much about washing out the color back there if I have other lights that are producing color. Look at that. Now look at that. That's red. So there's definitely a lot of choices. So how should I do this? Look at that purple. So what should I do? Should I Peak Time Racing says, so you're going to hide the strip lights underneath. So what I have, Peak Time Racing, what I have right now is I literally just have a row of lights sitting on their side pointing at the back, but they're not attached to the back. I can attach them wherever I want. I have these clips here. So my thought was, there's also the question about lighting up what's on the shelves, but I don't know. I mean, I do like that look of how they light up the back when they're pointing back there. So they'd have to, I mean, I guess I could mount them on the back of the shelves. But the way I have it now is it's pointing at the back wall. It's not pointing up or pointing down. So one thing I could do is just run them behind the bookshelves. I mean, I can also just get more and run them wherever I want. But, I mean, you can always get more lights. Having them attach on the back would be really good. So if I would, in theory, because I have like 4 different rolls of them right now, would the thing to do to like alternate? Because if I take one roll and I just run it like this, then I'm going to have to make it all the same color, which could be fine. But I had another thought, which is maybe I do one roll and I run it on every other shelf, because that way I can kind of adjust the colors, or, you know. No, I'm not cutting them yet. You can cut them, but I was looking up how to cut them. But if you cut them, you have to power each segment itself, don't you? I was thinking of just not cutting them for now. For the moment. Twiggy Beat says around the back of the shelving frame. Fight. Hold on a second. Peak Time Racing says you could do it row by row, but that would be a lot of light shift to control. I guess my thought was I could just, instead of having it all be the same strip of lights, I could alternate one or the other. Yeah, I'm not, for the moment, I'm going to try to get by with what I have. So, I mean, there's another one that Leonette said is you could also put them, you could put them under here. The problem is, if you put them like this, back here, it's going to light up the shelf, but it's not going to light up as much there. When you have them back here, it's going to light up the wall a lot more than it does here. So I can see it. I think I'm going to want them either back there, hold on, either back like that, or back here. I don't know. I could also put them to hang. I could also have them hanging down this way. Hold on. I'm just trying to test this out. Hanging that way. Really, I think maybe like this. Sorry. Like that, or like this. It's kind of, the problem is it looks better when they're, it looks better like this, but this is like when they're actually sitting on the thing. I can also move the shelves out a little bit. That's not a problem. I could just move the shelves away from the wall. But I think I'm going to want it either like this. This is right on the, this is like mounted on the bottom. I can't even see if you guys can see what I'm looking at here. That looks pretty cool. And there's also up here. Well, they're mounted on the top. Oh, sorry, it's so awkward doing this. Just trying to test it. Yeah, I think what I'm going to want to do is, I think I'm going to want to mount them on the back of the bookcase, on the back of the shelves, you know, on each level. Right, now somebody else says, T-Sky says you may not even see the back wall if something's on the shelf. Although that's probably an argument for putting it on the top of each shelf, not the bottom. Because there might be something on the bottom of the shelf. So I think maybe next stream I'll try doing that. Am I still planning a New Year's stream? We're going to do New Year's or Christmas Eve. I'm not exactly sure what the schedule is yet, so we'll see. As soon as I know, I'll let you know. I even like having like some lights hanging down. I mean, they're not going to be hanging down like that, but that looks kind of nice. That effect of the light hanging down. So we might do that too. Hey, Peak Time Racing, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Peak Time Racing. What a help you are. See, I think this does, maybe I'll run one down the side of the shelf or something. I'm going to have to just start experimenting with these lights. For what it's worth, Like Emily D. Baker, she has kind of similar color lighting in all her bookshelves. Well, she alternates some. There's some alternating there. And then Nutty, how does he do it? Does he alternate? Thank you, Phil, from Peak Time Racing. Really nice of you. Yeah, so Nutty on his channel, he's got one side, the shelves on one side are blue and on the other side pink or whatever. So, oh, the one thing I can do, as Dr. McRib points out, I had forgotten about this. Once I put these clips up, then I have some flexibility because the clips will stay there. The clips will stay there, but I can move different strips in and out of the same set of clips. All right, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I think maybe what we'll do for next time, it's 1:42 a.m. right now. It's getting late. I think next time what we're going to do next time we will actually put some of these mounting clips on the shelves. And we'll actually get some of these LED lights up and see what they look like on the shelf. I think that's what we have to do because I think it'll make a significant difference. And then we can experiment with that. But maybe I'll feel a lot better about it once those are up. Why don't we do that next time? I'm feeling a little better about the room, though, just because these lights are a bit brighter. I put them up higher and I turned them up brighter. And at least it's not so depressing and dark in here anymore. I'm kind of getting used to it because I can actually see the desk in front of me better, which is good. So let's plan on doing that. Let's plan next time because I do think it's going to make a significant difference. It's going to be lit up so much nicer back there when we have these LED lights behind the shelves. Okay? So next time we'll do that. Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that. WikiBeat says, I definitely like the glow those create. Good. It's a plan. It's a plan. We're slowly making progress. All right, I think it's time. But this is good. We did some experimenting. Oh, thanks to our new member, Marco Polo. Thank you, Marco Polo. It's 8 p.m. in Australia. That's how late it is, as Billy Joe Dre says. By the way, I appreciate all of your guys' suggestions, One Way Street and everybody else. I really appreciate people making suggestions. But I think it's going to make a difference, a significant difference when we have those LED lights back there. So that'll be our next. Hey, Sierra Lima says, use painter's tape to put them up temporarily. Well, I don't mind. These were not that expensive, these clips. So I'm just gonna put these clips up on the back of the shelves, and then I can string the lights through them. I think I'm just gonna do that because I do want them back there. I mean, I can just start by putting like 3 of these on the back of one shelf and just let's try it on one shelf and see how it looks on one shelf. Yeah, see, now these things, it's weird because these lights, if I lean back, then the lights aren't really pointed at me. So I think I gotta point them a little more towards me here, maybe. Keep experimenting with this. It's interesting. If I want to go crazy, I don't think I'll want to go crazy. I can even bump these lights up more. See, that's like too bright. That's feeling too bright to me. It's also washing everything out. Sorry. I don't mean to be bumping things up too much. I want to go back to where it was. Oops. What did I just do? Something like this. Something like this. Anyways. Okay. Well, we're working on it. We're working on it. We're working on it. Let me thank you guys for coming by and helping. It's really nice of you. Kinetic, Val, Queen. Well, thanks. Let's thank our mods first of all. Idaho Star and Sarah over there, thank you. And Beezy. Really appreciate all of our mods. And all of our viewers. Marco, Fweeky Beats. Heck Zoo over there on Twitch. God is my banner, Sorsby. Pink Yashley, 586 Smoker. Hey, by the way, Sarah and Idaho Star, I'll message you guys. How do I message you? I never message you on Twitch. How do I message people on Twitch? Oh. I'll message you both. It won't send. Why doesn't it send? I'm trying to send a whisper. It won't even send. I can't even send a whisper to anybody. I tried. Sarah and Idaho Star, I tried to send you a whisper. Didn't work. The send button doesn't work. Oh, there it is. It just worked. Hold on a moment. Try this again. Billy Joe Drace, thanks for watching. Tom Witcher. Tom, you said you were leaving, but I'm glad you stuck around. Bald and Dangerous, thank you. And Catsy Baby. Robert Branch, Sue Hins, Lola, Vicky Freeman. Good to see you, Vicky. Ryan the Gamer, Andy Finlay in the UK. Got 15 minutes of work left. Dr. McRib, Linda Rodriguez, thanks for watching. And Ride with OG, here's Hayseer Lemus, Marie J. KL Mao. One Way Street, Wolf Howl, Tipsy Gypsy, Ann Fitzgerald. Thank you. DJ X Tess, Enchanted, Spencer Barrett, Leonette. Thanks for the suggestions. Louise. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate all of your thoughts on this. Meatloaf Surprise. Connor Murphy. All right, guys. That's it for now. Oh, Gray Hughes came by. Gray Hughes Investigates. Thanks for watching. Deb is here. Val Queen. Thank you, everybody. Makawaka was here. Chosen One Uno. I got your message. Thanks. Sam Stamos. Caliph. Catherine of Sweden. Alex. All right, I'm wrapping this up, guys. I really do appreciate it. This was helpful just to kind of do some experimenting. We'll figure it out. We'll keep going. Barbara D. All right, guys, thanks. I'm going to wrap it up, but I will see you guys soon. I'm sure, next couple of days, if we're not covering news, we'll be doing more of these. So, all right, guys, gas on the brain. Thanks for being here. Thanks again to all of our mods. That's it for now. We'll see you soon. More lighting fun here on Lookner channel, and we'll see you very soon. And if you want to, the Gaza footage stream is still running. The Gaza footage stream is still running over on Agenda Free TV. So you can go check that out and do the chat there. All right, guys, we'll see you soon.